Hey guys, I just wanted to give you a quick overview for my Rogue starter build in this season, which is the Alchemist Dancer or Dance of Knives Rogue. And yeah, so maybe some of you are still undecided if they want to go for Rogue this season or if you actually want to play this season or not. So maybe I can help you with that decision and just give you an idea of the current power state of this class and this build especially. So right now I just started farming this Pit 55s, which is kind of the entry level for Torment tier 4. So this is like the lowest pit tier of the Torment tier 4 difficulty, and yeah, it just goes quite well so far. I'm about 20 hours into this new season and also didn't have time to level my glyphs or whatever, so I'm still kind of in the beginning, but I feel like it's still pretty okay to farm with this build. So I did not play something powerful this season like the Hydra Sork, for example, so I can't really compare it. But I have seen a little bit on Twitch and YouTube, and it seems like it's not too far away actually in this mid-game phase. So I think Alchemist Dancer and also this enhanced variant of it, so now we are rocking the Azurath technology as with many rogue builds in the season. So I think it's not too far away actually in this mid-game at least. So of course in late game it will be a big difference. But so far I have to say it's kind of alright here. And of course you need some gear for this power level here that I will show you later in this video. And also some new game mechanics that you need to keep in mind. So the skill rotation also has changed and you need to keep in mind some things in order to get the most out of this build. And here you can see the boss fights. So boss fights are usually the weakest part of this build, so like the greatest weakness. The single target damage is not too great. I don't know why I had a black screen, sorry. And here you can also again see I only have like one glyph to legendary at 64. All of the rest is not too great. Quickly show you the boss fight at Belial. So this is only Torment tier 2 because like I mentioned, boss fights are usually the weakness of this build. We don't have too crazy single target damage with Dance of Knives here. So yeah, Torment tier 2 is very good. You will see that in a few seconds, but oh my god, what is happening here? My screen is turning off all the time. I don't know how to fix it. Okay, anyways, but I hope you saw that. So Torment tier 2 is not a problem at all, but Torment tier 3 is kind of nightmare. Sorry, Astaroth fight here. So this is also on Torment tier 3 with the escalating nightmare dungeons. But yeah, it's still kind of okay, but here it already starts to become a little bit yeah, less optimal. And here you can see, for example, after I go into the second phase here, I really have problems of staggering him, and I need to stagger bosses in order to deal damage. So right now I'm dealing 0 damage, but once I stagger him, okay, I was too fast. Once I start to stagger him, you will realize, okay, now the damage is back, the damage is kind of exploding, and yeah, so that's what we need for this build. And I even died at the end because my defenses are not too great right now. But yeah, anyway, I hope that's enough for the showcase here. So before I go over the gear, guys, I have like one request to you. I would really like to reach 10,000 subscribers in this season, so it would be really cool if you could leave me a subscription and like this video, so I can just fasten up this goal a little bit. Yeah, thanks for that. And now let's take a look at the gear. I will go over the gear quite quickly, so you get a rough idea, and then I will go into detail. So I think also most of my gear is in my mobilitics page as usual. So yeah, I think nothing crazy here. Also, like I said, I'm just in the beginning. I only had like 20 hours roughly into this new season. And that is kind of my gear. But what you maybe already realized is I was kind of lucky in my Azurath here. So Azurath is, like mentioned, the new technology that many rogue builds uses nowadays, just because many other stuff got nerfed so heavily that we now rely on this flat damage effects, which are quite powerful with lucky chance. So with this build as usual, so my Alchemist Dancer, which I kind of invented, let's say I think 2 seasons ago, always had the idea of dealing damage only with elemental flat damage. So you can see we also have on the weapons different elemental surge tempers. So here I have poison damage, and here on my two-hander I have flat cold damage. So cold and poison are, by the way, your go-to elemental search tempers, because we benefit in the most way with dealing cold and poison damage. We have some synergies for that in the build. So this idea of Alchemist Dancer was always to deal damage with flat damage, and now we included Azareth, which is kind of the king of flat damage. You can see 15,000 cold damage with double crit on the Masterwork and greater effects here. And so here I want to highlight that I was kind of lucky with this weapon. I already have greater effects on Azareth and double Masterwork quite easily. So if you don't have that, then your damage will be not as high as you saw in this video. So this build really falls with masterworking and finding decent gear and getting good tempers. So your priority very early in the game, so from the beginning of this build, is you really want to get your damage tempers, flat damage tempers, like this cold damage, as high as possible. So here I have a max roll, 7,440 out of 7,440, so this is max roll temper on my two-handed weapon. And here also I'm pretty close to max roll, and here, like I mentioned, I have a greater FX. So once you have these, you have items with good rolls on the tempers, and you have like a Azareth with greater FX and some decent masterwork, then this build starts to get rolling and starts to deal damage and all that stuff. The rest of my gear is kind of okay, but nothing too crazy. I'm also playing with T-Bolt's Will here. This is only, this is not forever. Once I will have my mythic uniques, like my False Death, or I actually forgot the name of it, I think something like that, Shroud or False Death, I will change the T-Bolt Wills to some legendary pants, because I will be lacking armor, resistances and all that stuff, but for now I just went for T-Bolt's Will for some more damage. And yeah, I already have some nice uniques like Call of the Nameless, but still I don't have Fist of Fate, which is also the other core unique of this build. So you want Azareth as quick as possible, and then you also want Fist of Fate with greater FX on lucky chance. Again, this build really needs tons of lucky chance, because our main damage source is not Dance of Knives itself, but we want to trigger and proc as many flat damage effects as possible, and they require lucky hit chance. But Frostburn is a good alternative if you don't have if you couldn't find your Fist of Fate so far. Then Frostburn is also kind of good, because you have also flat damage on these gloves as well. And also one of the recent findings that was new to me is that attack speed actually scales with your flat damage effects, or at least it scales with the elemental surge damage effects. So it's everything from cold damage, shadow damage, poison damage. These all scale with attack speed, which you can find on your sheet. And also, so this is like attack speed cap 1, which goes up to 100%, but also you have attack speed cap 2, which is, for example, something like Alchemical Advantage. So here you can also boost your attack speed by additional amount, and this goes, for example, into attack speed cap 2. There are 2 caps in the game, and all of this attack speed up to 200% also scales your flat damage effects, such as from Azareth and the other tempers. So with this new findings, I also have updated my build quite a bit, so we now get even more damage out of this build. And yeah, just keep in mind, Azareth, Fist of Fate, and everything that gives you attack damage is very good for this build in order to scale your damage. Now also we can go over the skills quickly. There have some things have changed here. So for example, I removed all the points from Dance of Knives. I think this is really unnecessary in this build. We do not play with Smoke Grenade and Caltrops, because it really interrupts the game flow or gameplay flow of this build. So here you usually just want to spin and you never want to stop. And you can see, for example, all of my skills in my skill bar, like Concealment and Dark Shrouds, I can just press them and activate them while spinning. So I keep spinning after pushing these buttons here. Only Shadow Clone will interrupt my Dance of Knives whirling or spinning, and this is really good for the game loop flow. And for that reason I did not want to include some damage skills, like support skills that increase damage but will interrupt the flow. You can do that if you really need more damage, but I personally don't like it, so I decided to go with some other skills. They also have some advantages. So yeah, this is more or less but I would say more or less the same old tree as in the last seasons. But now we also have one big difference, and this is the key passive. So here you can still go for momentum if you feel very squishy or you are lacking movement speed. Then momentum is also very good key passive for this build. But if you really want to min-max and get like the last 10% damage of this build, you should go for Victimize, because here we now have a 75% increased damage for all skills basically, and also for flat damage effects, and we also cause Victimize explosions from time to time, which are not too important here, but still a little bit damage. So overall this key passive should be like 10% better than momentum, so if you can afford it you should take it, but like I mentioned, momentum is also pretty fine. And I want to talk about the new skill rotation quickly. So it actually got a little bit easier than in last seasons, I think. We don't have cold imbuement anymore on the skill bar just because Eldritch Bounty, the Paragon node, has changed. So now what we want to do, we want to keep in mind some other things. So the most important rune here, for example, if you also have the DLC, then you want to play with the Quax rune. So Quax rune is very important for this build because it does two things. It increases your damage by 100% for 1 second, which is very good. And then it also consumes your energy, which gives you several synergies. So consuming energy gives you barrier thanks to second wind. So we can get a barrier, and this barrier on the other hand gives you more damage with something like the conceited aspect. And then we also use preparation in order to reset our cooldowns and especially our ultimate skill. So here we also need the Quax rune in order to spend energy, in order to get cooldown for preparation, or reset our ultimate skill and then get cooldowns from it. So you can see we have many synergies here, and for that reason, in order to activate Quax, the Quax rune, you will need to pay attention a little bit on your skill management. So you can see, for example, every time when this symbol here, this is the Quax rune, every time when it's filled entirely with a purple screen, so the purple screen gets complete here, it means that Quax is ready. And for example, once I push a button, you will see that my Shadow Clone cooldown will immediately be reduced. And this is very important because you just want to manage your skills in a way where you get this timing for when you can use your skills on the skill bar, and then you will reset your Quax rune for more damage and to reset your ultimate cooldown. So this is a bit tricky in the beginning maybe, but with some practice you will learn this pattern. And then this is like another technique how you can basically min-max and get the most damage out of this build. So once you master that, you're good to go. And like I mentioned again, so Shadow Clone very important in order to cast it every 15 seconds at least. 10 seconds is more ideal because at one point you will unlock the No Witness Paragon board, and this will give you 40% more damage every 10 seconds after Shadow Clone gets cast. And another reason why we want to cast Shadow Clone frequently is because we actually have this, our Catalyst, which is Disintegrate, on our ultimate skill. So every time I cast my Shadow Clone, I also cast this Disintegrate beam. And this also again has some synergies. It, for example, burns enemies because of our infusion here, and burning enemies is very good for my Frostburn because I deal more cold damage to burning enemies. So as long as I don't have Fist of Fate, this is a very good synergy, which increases my damage. And also we just can destroy damage reduction, auras, and barriers from enemies. So this Catalyst is pretty useful to us. And later on, I will also hopefully unlock this Bloody Charm to execute enemies below 20% life. So this is also very good. So yeah, for that reason, you just want to master this timing for your Quax rune. And then you basically, so how you reset it is you just need to press any skill. So you just need to get this timing, and then you will just push a random skill on your skill bar. So everything is useful. Dark Shroud gives us more Dark Shrouds for survivability and crit chance. Shadow Imbuement is something we always want to be active. And Concealment gives us Unstoppable, which is also very good for Thibaut's Will. So yeah, this is, by the way, I also quickly showed you my setup here, but you can also find it in the planner. And now the last thing, the Paragon board. This has also changed a bit, I think. So you can see, for example, that I still don't have my 5th board, so once I have no witness, my damage will also increase by 40%. And of course with my last glyph also by 10 to 20%. And yeah, but we still have a very similar board to the last seasons, so still very similar glyphs, and I think not too much has changed here. But yeah, anyways, you can check out in the planner anyways. So I have already updated my planner here, especially this endgame speed farmer variant. So this is my Alchemist Dancer, you can find it on Mobalytics, and everything that I explained in this video will be there as well. Okay guys, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. I really want to reach my 10,000 subscribers. This would be really cool in this season. And yeah, I hope you learned something. I hope this helped you. And I wish you a nice day and hopefully see you next time. Bye bye.